Although I agreed with a lot of what Kiyosaki was saying in his books, I didn't agree with anything. No.
Hello, welcome to the video. Today we're talking about Amway, a very famous MLM. I'm also going to talk about my personal experience being recruited by Amway, going through the selection process, reading their materials, and what you can expect should you go through the selection process like I did. We're also going to talk a little bit about Robert Kiyosaki and how he's involved with Amway. Alright, enjoy the video.
If you've never heard of Amway, it's a multi-level marketing company, or MLM. But if someone who works for Amway reaches out to you, they may first tell you that it's just an e-commerce business. Technically it is, since they sell and ship their products directly to customers online, similar to Amazon. But what makes Amway different from Amazon is how they market their products. Amway is an MLM, so the way they grow their business is by recruiting people to sell their products by way of network marketing. A business model that depends on person-to-person sales by independent representatives, often working from home. A network marketing business may require you to build a network of business partners or salespeople to assist with lead generation and closing sales. To put it into the context of Amway, anyone can join the company as an independent business owner, or IBO. As an IBO, you make money either from sales commission or by recruiting people to join your network to sell more products. Last year, I went through the Amway IBO selection process for about 6 weeks before I quit. It started when someone who went to the same college as me messaged me on LinkedIn and asked if I wanted to join their e-commerce business. I'll call him Steve, and these are the screenshots from our conversation. To summarize, some guy DM'd me on LinkedIn and asked if I wanted to join his business. He didn't specify what I would be doing in the business or even what the name of the business was. My first impression was that Steve was a recent college grad who was looking to network with other alumni. Eventually, we were meeting on Zoom where he would vaguely explain what his e-commerce business does. Then he emailed me PDFs of books to read, Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant, Guide to Financial Freedom, and The Business of the 21st Century, both written by Robert Kiyosaki. If that name sounds familiar, you might have heard of his first and most popular book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and his Rich Dad series, of which now there are quite a lot. All of these books advocate for building wealth while being easy to read for people who don't have a background in finance. Financial education is something I care about, and these books were free, so I went along with the homework assignment of reading the first 4 chapters of Rich Dad's Cash Flow Quadrant. It was about 100 pages, so I finished the chapters in a couple of days. Although I agreed with a lot of what Kiyosaki was saying in his books, I didn't agree with everything. I'm also not sure about some of the financial advice he tweets. He doesn't trust the stock market, and he tells people to buy a lot of Bitcoin and physical commodities like gold and silver. Sure, diversify your portfolio with that stuff if you have the capital, but things like Bitcoin and precious metals can be just as risky as investing in stocks sometimes. So, I don't know. Kiyosaki also believes that most people are wasting their lives being employees for other people. He explains that to effectively build personal wealth, you need to invest in successful business systems, either by creating one of your own or by buying one that already exists. An example of a successful businessman he brings up a lot in his books is Henry Ford and his introduction of the assembly line. So Kiyosaki is encouraging you to be like Ford by putting your time and money into business models that grow businesses and will eventually supply you with passive income. Then I wondered how Kiyosaki is connected to Amway. Neither of his books that I read mention Amway at all, but then I found out that most of Kiyosaki's popularity and success can actually be attributed to Amway. What had happened is that some Amway executive randomly discovered Rich Dad Poor Dad and decided to promote the book as a way to inspire people about the possibility that working with Amway could be a viable path to achieving financial independence. After Amway helped make Robert Kiyosaki's first book a best-selling hit, he wrote more books about financial freedom. Will that pick up? Oh, hold on. After Amway helped make Robert Kiyosaki's first book a best-selling hit, he wrote more books about financial freedom, this time encouraging people to get involved in network marketing, which is the business model that Amway uses. And network marketing is pretty much just another term for multi-level marketing. So, Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant especially wants to inspire in you that working as an employee for someone else's company isn't going to give you financial freedom, but that working for an MLM like Amway will. But how? I don't know, and I don't even think Kiyosaki really believes in this shit. After reading Kiyosaki's books, I was then given podcasts to listen to. And they were audio recordings from Amway business seminars, I'm guessing for IBOs and prospective IBOs. Every year they have this thing called their Achievers Conference, which is like off-site getaway for Amway IBOs. The speakers I listened to were Francis Pappalardo, Eddie and Cassie Kutnick, Warren Fry, and Greg Duncan. All of these podcasts start off like an inspirational speech, and they tell you that your level of success is entirely dependent on you. All right, fair enough. But then they quickly devolve into a sales pitch about why you should join Amway. They say that joining Amway was the best thing that ever happened to them, that they could never have achieved their financial freedom without it. Then at the end of each of these podcasts, there was a 4.5-minute disclaimer that says, just because some people have found financial success as an Amway IBO doesn't mean that it will work for everyone, or even for the majority of people. It also states that income is generated by selling to retail customers, training other IBOs, and purchasing products for personal use. That last one doesn't make a lot of goddamn sense, but their argument for it is that as an IBO, when you buy from Amway, you're buying from yourself. Okay. Frances Pappalardo even says that the average of success with Amway is very low and that a lot of people quit soon after starting. She also goes on to say that it might not work for you if you're afraid of hard work and not willing to put in the extra hours, if you're not self-motivated, or if you're not in it for the long run. Greg Duncan says that your success is up to your ambition and you should pursue excellence, or else mediocrity will pursue you. All these speakers are trying to motivate you into joining Amway by saying that it gives you the potential to make a lot of money, and that if you don't find success with it, it's not the MLM system or the company that's wrong, it's you. That you don't want to work hard enough, that you're not motivated enough, that you're a loser. Robert Kiyosaki talks a lot about why you're a loser in his Cash Flow Quadrant book, by the way. Funny that he mentions the thing about marriage. He and his wife Kim, who co-wrote some of his books, divorced in 2017. So I wonder for how long they were losers before splitting up. So after reading these books, attending Zoom meetings with local IBOs, and listening to podcasts, I started to see why people don't trust Amway. The MLM culture built around it is not unlike that of a cult. The IBOs I met with always said the same things, like surround yourself with like-minded people. You succeed by helping others succeed. We help people live better, healthier lives. We only partner with the highest quality brands like Neutralite, Artistry, and Excess Energy. They encourage you to associate only with people like them and to cut out the people in your life who are telling you not to join Amway. Okay. If that's not weird enough, the weekly IBO meetings I joined were every Tuesday at 7:30 to 9 p.m. Business attire required for a Zoom call. Some people were actually wearing suits and ties for a Tuesday night Zoom call. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, but I thought it was lame. The reasoning behind business attire only is that you're dressing for the part you want to help put yourself into the mindset of the kind of person you want to be. If that works for you, more power to you. But I really wasn't into it, so I guess I'm not Amway material. During the meetings, they explained to all the newcomers that to be in their business, you need to build trust and transparency. Kind of ironic for a business that has had so many lawsuits and a shady past, but that never came up. At most, they acknowledge that Amway is controversial and that people in your life might look at you weird for joining it, but if they do, then it's just because your friends and family are losers who are holding you back in life. They would also frequently bring up the possibility of spending more time with your family if you join Amway. It was like one of their main recruiting points. Of course, most people would rather spend more time at home than in a corporate office helping the CEO make his or her millions. So why not instead focus your time and talents on improving yourself while supporting your family? Well, with Amway, you can. How? Sell our products, tell people to give us their money, train other IBOs, tell people how to tell more people to give us their money, and purchase our products for personal use, give us your money. If you do this enough, then eventually, maybe, one day you'll be able to quit your regular job and live off the passive income you've generated with network marketing. But the percentage of people who manage to get to this level is so stupid small. According to Amway's company website, the top 1% earned an average annual income of $83,000 with a median of $50,000. And sometimes it could take up to 13 years to achieve an average annual income of $43,000. The speakers that are featured in Amway's podcasts, I assume, are part of the 1% mentioned here, and many of them probably earn more money now by basically becoming a life coach and starting their own business rather than working with Amway anymore. And yeah, none of those speakers I mentioned before are still working with Amway, at least not that I know of. Frances Pappalardo created a lifestyle brand called Customize Your Life, which she uses to promote her lifestyle, I think. I'm on the Customize Your Life website, and I'm not really sure what the brand actually does, but it looks like a blog where Frances and her husband Tony add videos and articles about things they like or about the companies they've partnered with. Eddie and Cassie Kutnick have their own consulting business, and pretty much all of the other speakers left Amway and started their own kind of entrepreneurial business. So I think the point of listening to the podcast is to show people the level of success that's possible. But in reality, these successes are extremely rare. Only 1% of IBOs make enough for a decent living, and it takes them years, sometimes more than a decade, just to earn less than the average American household income. I feel like I could go into more of a deep dive on Amway's shady past and its speakers, but I think that's enough to prove my point. So the purpose of reading their books and listening to their podcasts is to mold you into thinking, maybe I can make it to the top, like those speakers, if I just work hard enough. It reminds me of the school fundraisers I used to have in elementary school. Students were given a catalog of food and home products and were encouraged to go door to door selling that crap to neighbors. My mom hated these fundraisers. She said they always dangle unreachable prizes in front of kids and made you feel bad if you didn't sell enough. And she was right. The prizes for the most sales included a limousine ride to Chuck E. Cheese or a few minutes inside a money tornado where you got to keep whatever money you caught. Unless you could get your family to buy a bunch of useless crap from you, it was unlikely you would ever sell enough to get inside a money tornado. I think I sold just a few orders, and at the end of the fundraiser, my only prize was 2 cheap gel pens. And I did feel kind of bad for not doing better. This is Amway. It's a school fundraiser, but you're raising money for Amway, who will tell you that Amway's money is your money since you're not an employee, but a business partner. And also, like fundraisers, they use incentive prizes to sell more, like a trip to a big city to attend their Achievers Conference. And if you don't sell enough, that's your fault. You didn't work hard enough, loser. So after all that, I decided not to continue with the selection process to join Amway. I didn't have a problem with joining the meetings or reading the books, but when it came time to when I was expected to pay money for their apps and products, I really wasn't interested. But if you do want to join Amway, it's $99 for a starter kit of Amway products, $90 for a business license to sell those products, and $35 to $110 a month to subscribe to the BWW Business Mentor app, which allows you access to more of their books and podcasts. The range is $35 to $110 here because there are different components to the app that you can choose whether or not you want to subscribe to them. I believe one is $35 and the other is $75, so if you want to subscribe to both, it would be $110 a month. With that subscription, you get access to a mentor who is another IBO who will coach you through how to grow your individual network. I mentioned here that they encourage you to seek out and surround yourself with people who have the same goals as you. And well, I realized that the people featured in their podcasts and the people who were joining their Tuesday night meetings were not the kind of people I want to exclusively associate with. Nothing against them personally, I don't even know them on a personal level, but there's just a kind of weird vibe I got after thinking about what they just told me. And it was in how they spoke too. Their intention is to be inspirational, and most of what they're saying is on a surface level, but in the end, the message always came back to why you should join Amway, which I guess is fair because, that's what we're all here to talk about. But it's like when you're reading a news article about something you care about, but it's really an ad for some stupid shit you don't need. I had never heard of Amway or MLMs in general before I met Steve, and at first it honestly sounded like kind of a good deal. I was unfulfilled in my job, and I would have taken any way out. But I was always on the fence about joining. To be fair, it is a legal business, and some people actually do thrive with Amway on some, usually small, level. Maybe it just takes a certain kind of person to be successful with it. The majority of people I met during our meetings were athletes, makes sense given the dietary supplement products that Amway sells, people with families, also makes sense because they tell you repeatedly that by joining Amway, you'll be able to work towards giving less time to work and more time to family, and immigrants or children of immigrant parents. People who come from cultures that are traditionally expected to support their parents as they get older. Again, the theme of family before work. And I know that's true for a lot of multi-generational Americans too, but I think it's more expected in other cultures. The expectation that the primary caregiver of your elderly parents will eventually be you or your older sibling and not some legal guardian or nursing home. So if you're an athletic foreign family person, then maybe Amway sounds like a great way to make extra income, but if you feel manipulated or guilted into joining, don't do it. So I made it to the end of the Amway selection process, and then I was asked when I wanted to launch my own seller's website, but I listened to my gut and it said no. I know I'm not the salesman type. I'm too shy. And I know that part of joining Amway is that you get a mentorship and business training included with monthly subscription costs, so I wasn't expected to be great at sales in the beginning. The expectation is that your mentors will mold you into the person who can network market, if that's a verb. They'll tell you that you'll become the person you want to be, but really it's just what they want you to be. And I don't want to be what they want to be. Really, only you can decide if you want to join Amway. They can't force you, but they might make you feel like a loser for not joining or sticking with it. As I said, it's a legal business that's been around for over 60 years, so they must be doing something right? Well, no. At this point, I'm guessing they're just too big to fail, and they have enough money to pay out the settlements to the people who sue them. Like every year. I guess that $8 billion has to go somewhere. In conclusion, only a few people will ever find success working with Amway. Like 1% few. Like the psychopath population few. But if you're not a psychopath, I think you're better off finding happiness in what you already have. Of course, you should pursue excellence in any way you can, but it doesn't have to be this shady. Maybe continuing to give 40 hours a week of your time to a corporation that makes the top executives richer won't make you richer, but by pursuing financial education on your own, you can at least budget well, save a lot, make smart investments, and spend your time outside of work focusing on what makes you happy. Amway won't get more of my free time other than the time I spent working on this video. Instead, I'm giving my free time to the things I like, and to this channel. It's not likely that I'll be able to quit my day job and work on this full time, but I think making videos will make me happier than trying to sell Nutrilite to people who don't want it for the insane markup they're charging. If there's anything positive I gained from going through Amway's selection process, it's that financial education and self-improvement are important, but you don't need to give all your free time, talent, and money to yet another corporation, especially one that promises to have a solid path to financial freedom. Amway is shady, and I don't recommend going down that path. That's all. Thanks for watching. All right, that's it. Bye.